seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick. Dire team pick.
Naga Siren.
10 seconds remaining.
Doing great, Mike. Game 1, not so great for Polaris. They had some good signs early on. They were finding some good kills and rotations out, but they gave enough time for NGX to build up on Kami-sama. In Your Dream just managed to overtake on his patented Terrorblade. And of course Mizu as well on his Brewmaster and Alacrity on that Ember did spectacular work. So I think Polaris has got to be a bit more cautious about that. Maybe pressure In Your Dream a little bit more. We saw the same issue we saw against when Motivate Trust was playing their last series, that Jackie was never pressured. Same thing here. In Your Dream was not pressured enough to stop that Terrorblade from scaling up, and once he hit his item spikes, he just took over. So I think that's where Polaris has to make adjustments. Keen to see what they do though. They pull out the Naga Siren, and I believe we've been seeing that on support quite a fair bit. It could be a pause one as well, but it's relatively early for that position. So maybe to support Naga coming out once more. I think Boomy used to play that a ton, and they go into the Darkseer as well. So this is giving me some flashbacks to 2018. What? You remember those days? We'd cast China, and you know what comes next after that? It's either a Tide, well, which you can put in pause 5 if you're running a Naga 1, or a Disruptor. So your combinations there, Vac Wall, Static Storm, Kinetic Field, Song to set up, can kind of play that way. I think NGX are kind of ready though. They've got the line to clear out some of the Naga illusions, especially once you've got the Shard up. You can just kind of take those away from Naga. You've got the Snapfire here for good control, great laning presence, and good team fight as well. So there's a bit of a back and forth here, but I am worried about Polaris going back into this. Now, mind you, the Darkseer is really strong. We have seen a lot of great Darkseer plays. Once the Ags is up and the Ag Shard, you actually do a lot of work. So I think Polaris has this strong foundation with Darkseer, but the Naga Siren I'm not so sold on. Again, especially if it is something like a pause 4, which I believe Polaris has actually done before. I think they did do it before with Boomy playing it. So likely a support. Darkseer Naga lane, not too bad. You can pressure with Ion Shell and Illusion, put it up front. It will take some levels to really get that going fast though. I think it's...
Radiant team ban. Dire team ban.
It's just so strange to pick a pause 1, pause 3 first phase, I think. That's what gets you thinking, like, sure, you could start with Naga. Didn't ban LC, right? So if you're thinking about Naga safe lane, you should ban Legion Commander, because overwhelming odds makes the laning phase hellish, and they don't take care of it. So I think maybe it's just going to be the pause 4, and I swear to goodness I've seen that played in the BTS Pro Series 9. I just can't recall too well now, but I believe it was Boomy. So I might be wrong about that, but it was run on support at some point with the Darkseer as well. So that same combination was pulled out. And you do have a lot of presence early on. You could Ion Shell the Naga, run up, get the net off, surround with illusions, and just rip through with a Riptide. That will take like level 3 going for a 1-1-1 on Naga, but at that point you'd have level 2 Ion Shell as well. And the damage is really easy to pull off.
Imba Spirit.
Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
Puck.
Yep.
Ten seconds remaining. Dire team pick.
Oracle.
I would have preferred Disruptor. You know, you're going all in, you've got Darkseer, Nagasiren, Disruptor not banned, and you go with the Oracle instead, so... Yeah, I guess if they're not emphasizing Naga combos, then that should just be the pause for. Oracle, we haven't seen that hero too much. It is still really good. That does kind of set up for a nice pause one for Natsumi. Again, they could go for, say, a Troll with the Oracle combo. They could try... Is Terrorblade as well if they want to go that route, although against Ember Spirit it can be a bit tougher. Could give that a shot as well. Any of those heroes that do enjoy being up front, Ursa could be one, but they don't know their offlane matchup. NGX is going to have to show something here. Their tendency is to kind of leave the Mizu hero last for a lot, so they might just go for their RYD hero, and they do. Raid King comes out, and that is one way to kind of hold the lane against Darkseer. You're very tanky on the Raid King. You can kind of just try to crit down the creep that is Iron Shelled up. If it's your own creep, you kind of just have to deal with it. And if the lane goes really bad, you can jungle early on. Once your skeletons are up, just dip into jungle, get farm. You're not going to be outfit. You have some early timings as well. And I think that's key for NGX. They don't want to drag this game all too long. You know, with a Darkseer and Naga, they can scale really well into late game. So the Raid King does mean that they're going to be aiming to play a lot quicker. There's also the... back and forth there, like with an Oracle you do sort of have a second life with a False Promise. Raid King also has Reincarnate, so you can kind of play with that back and forth. Interested to see that NGX are banning pause once, Mike, so they expect the Naga support as well.
5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick.
Yeah. They don't have that option for the Mizu Brewmaster, as Polaris has corrected that drafting mistake, banning it out in the second phase of bans. So NGX, what's left? They could try... They feel like they need more... Yeah, LC could be good. Like, you have good Dispel, Hagshard's gonna be great. You can punish the Nagasiren with illusions. You can punish Darkseer illusions as well in the Vac Wall. The LC could be a good way. The lane against the Tinies are okay. NGX Undying comes out. Please say that's Mizu. I hope he takes it. Yes, the core offlane Undying. My favorite position for the Undying. You know, that's my favorite role. I haven't played it in long. It's been, you know, I played it a lot when you ran a tri-lane all the time. And you'd run solo offlane. Right? Like, that was peak Undying. It's just the easiest time for Undying, because 3-man decay, you never die. You hold that lane well. In this case, it should be dual lanes, of course. It is Boomy Nagasiren and Natsumi Tiny, as we expected, so they will run that Nagasiren Darkseer combination. For Mizu, I mean, the Tiny doesn't enjoy that lane. Decay, you take away strength. The Tiny early on has no armor, so you're going to be able to pressure him out just by stealing HP and getting some right clicks off. Jokam's going to be there with his Lion as well to cut off, or Paulson with a Snap. I think I do prefer Snapfire Undying, but the Lion should take farm priority there. We'll see how the lanes do split up. Draft-wise, I think in the end, I'm gonna have to say NGX came out on top, Mike. Like, they've got the Raid King with 2 lives. You don't have any way of burning through his mana. Sure, you do have scaling with the Tiny to an extent. Like, the Ag Shard, Silver Edge build-up is still really good. But I think in these prolonged fights, NGX does kind of get the better edge. You might be able to get some good Vac Waltz with the Dream Coil on top, but it's all down to execution for Polaris, and NGX is not going to make it easy to land those big combinations.
You talked about how great the Undying was in Tri-Lanes. Now, another hero that really enjoyed Tri-Lanes, Jonathan, Earth Spirit. Those were the days. Earth Spirit loved Tri-Lanes. And I'll be quite frank, I miss Tri-Lanes. I think it's been too long since we've been in a meta where Tri-Lanes were just normal. And like, how many years has it been? Seen a proper minute 0 Tri-Lane versus Tri-Lane situation. It's just been too long.
It was. Those were the days. The slugfest. The offlane literally being just a dead lane for minute 0. So you pick heroes that can kind of self-sustain. Those were the fun days. That's when offlane felt so much more fun because it was such a challenge. You'd play from basically what most people would consider just a losing position off the start and try to find a win condition from it. You know, that was the exciting time. Dual lanes, they're still fun. There's still some dynamics there. We see that with Mars, we see that with Tide.
Not that fun.
It's a bit more equalized, right? You might see some aggression, but you usually try to deny farm and get your own farm. The emphasis is still trying to build up. So it's not as live or die. You know, it's not as live or die. It's much more stabilized and balanced because of that.
I guess so. I do miss those times when you had to play solo offlane. Like that was the time where I used to play solo offlane because you could be bad at it and nobody would know the difference, right? You're just like, playing offlane against a tri-lane. What do you think's gonna happen? Of course I've got no farm. Of course I've died for the 10th time. Makes enough sense. In your dream? He's gonna be all right. Just a quick fortune turn down and Boomy harass him on the way out. We kind of talked about it during the drafting phase, but Boomy, along with his Darkseer, is going to be a decently painful experience for the side of NGX. I think as you're going to have the ensnare and the double iron shells. Hopefully, we'll see if that's going to be the case, but not 100% sure quite yet.
Yeah, I look what Boomy's doing here though. On the support, Naga, brown boots up, 375 move speed. You can't run. Even though she does 45 damage, 44 to 46 swing, it's still annoying. You know, you're not going to be able to stop that constant harassment coming out from Boomy. Nico does have the level 1 Iron Shell, and Boomy with his brown boots can just run up and keep that Iron Shell going on the supports.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry about the barking in the background. There's a lot of havoc going on in the back, John. Paulson in your dream. Oh, they're going to make the jump in onto Nico right now. Darkseer going to be in a spot of danger. Looks like he's going to be just fine. We'll quickly go through the other lanes because I feel like there's going to be some more havoc coming out very, very soon. As Mac and Alacrity in the mid lane on the Ember and the Puck. Do you favor one or the other, John?
And the Puck might have a bit of an edge early on. Early levels you can burn through the Flame Guard, make it so that Alacrity can't wave clear as well. But once you hit level 3, level 4, with more points in the Flame Guard, you can kind of hold your own. Block a lot of damage from Puck, play with your own Sleight Fist, and draw an equal lane. It boils down to rune control. And that's where the back and forth should come out. Support should come in to deny off water runes, to try to secure it for their own core. Not sure how much movement you can expect from the supports when the side lanes are so active though.
True. Well, spot lane as well. Mizu, Jokam going to be there with CML and Natsumi. Natsumi, I think he should have an okay time. Like, he can be very, very scary, I suppose, against the Undying Lion, but if you don't overextend, should be just fine. You've got CML there as well to just keep you healed up the whole time. I think as long as they don't, you know, go too far forward here on this tiny, chances are Mizu's not going to be able to really affect his farm too much.
Yeah, you just need to watch for how much decay comes through from Mizu. If he does manage to get like 2 decays off, you're going to be in the negatives of strength. You know, you're a strength here as well. Your base damage goes down. It becomes a lot easier to poke and prod because you have 0 armor. And that means every point of HP you're taking away it makes it easier to burst you down on that tiny. So the matchup does kind of work for the Undying. Issue is your wave clear isn't amazing. Even though decay kind of works, its damage early on isn't great. And it's very costly for Undying to use that to wave clear as well. So in that sense, Natsumi should have a better time clearing out the wave. And you're seeing that reflected in CS. Natsumi up 16-1. Mizu down to 11-1. Can't really do much to compensate for that yet.
Yeah.
你这么菜，你的队友不会生气吧，哥哥？
Paulison casually being chased around here by Permies. It's Nagasaren just not leaving him alone. Feels very powerful right now as he does go for the ensnare out onto the Snapfire. Paulison could be in danger now as Nico's going to make the rotation over. You've got that vacuum up and now you've got the Iron Shell onto Boomy. And I think Paulison, he's just dead. There you go, first blood coming out. Boomy able to pick it up on the Nagasaren. In Your Dream though is going to try and fight back, but he's going to be cautious himself. A lot of damage out on the Naga. Your Dream, you can't fight into those double Iron Shells, so if Nico makes the decision to come over and join in, yeah, a very scary time for the Wraith King as well.
Never refuse gold.
Yeah, and I have to say, it's just down to the fact that Boomy has so much move speed. Like Trevin's 375, you can't run away from him. If you get double Iron Shell on top, you're not going to live through that combination. The good thing about that debt on Paulson is that it allows a mid-rotation. So he gets a bottle top up for Alacrity, he secures a water rune as well, and they manage to grab the bot water rune, forcing Mac all the way back if he's not careful.
Yeah. Well, bot lane, Mizu does end up dropping, so just left alone for a while. Jokam rotating to secure some water runes, but is going to allow Mizu to kind of be susceptible there to Natsumi, and he does pick up the kill on the Tiny. To the greatest start. By the way, John, is this something we see very often? In fact, hold that thought, because top lane, more Iron Shells popping up. In Your Dream, he's going to try and chase down Nico on the darks here. Boomy still rushing forward here, getting more damage off onto In Your Dream, but eventually we'll have to back. But I was going to ask you about Mizu's item build-up, John, the Helm of the Dominator build. Something we usually see on Undying?
No, not really, but I think it has place. The stats the Helm of the Dominator gives is really good. The added creep gives you more presence, helps you with control if you get the Centaur creep as well. So you have something to play with the Tombstone zombie slows. You see a nice kill coming out from the Wraith King, of course, punishing how low Nico was. But I think the Dominator does have some place. You know, the value is there for the controlled creep. The Undying is one of those heroes that can use that and help kind of balance out the momentum you want to build up with the hero. Overlord is pretty good on the hero as well, because again, stats. Built off from Vlad's, you kind of used to go for aura builds on Undying, so you have that option as well for utility and just more durability going forward for Mizu.
Five and a half minutes in, 2-1 so far.
Behold!
Back. I get aggressive here against the Alacrity. Hooky out, they have got the Naga, Boomy. We're gonna go in. Dreamcore's been committed here by Mac with the orb out. Boomy, he's somehow still alive, but eventually will get taken down as now Mac, he could be in danger. They found the puck. Can they hold him down long enough though? Not quite. Jokam, he tried to make the rotation in from the side, but didn't really have the mana to commit the stun. Yeah, at least they get the puck out of there, but they will lose Boomy.
Nice pickup for Alacrity. Just leveraging his level 6 spike, going for the 0-3-2 build, prioritizing the Sleight of Fist. So he's got the damage output with a right click, just with the Blightstone. He's going to be picking up his full power treads up. Even more damage and some nice juggling around with the stats to keep himself in the lane. So far, even game, 2-2, 1k lead coming out from NGX. That aggression we were seeing from Polaris earlier on, they haven't really been able to commit too much on their top, right? Like we were expecting a bit more activity with Naga. Instead, Boomy's just looking to be disruptive, build up some stacks across the map. Which is something Nagasaren can do really fast, especially if you use your mirror image for that. But beyond that, it is a bit slower paced here for Polaris now. They're tuning it back a bit, building up on Natsumi. Our Tiny is still basically free farmed in that lane, just not really being able to be zoned out by the Undying. Level 6 is up on Mizu, but for you to really maximize the flash goal, you need follow-up damage. And without the line hanging around, feeling like Mizu can hold the offlane solo, there's not much aggression Mizu can really do here.
Never Avalanche toss out again. Mizu, though, this time is going to be just fine as he will try to turn. They've got the damage this time as Alacrity is going to show up, and it looks like Natsumi is going to pay for that attempt. They will get a very important kill here on NGX. CML doesn't even have the Fate's Edict up right now, so really couldn't block off any of the damage. In the meantime, though, mid lane, they found the Lion. Might get something for their trouble, and they will. Mac to take that one for himself. Definitely a pretty big win there for NGX, though, with that tiny kill.
Dire's middle tower.
You feel a lot better slowing down the Tiny's pacing. It opens up a bit of a shot on that bot tier 1 as well. TPs will come in for the defense. Natsumi is back up and is level 7, so there's some good right-click damage coming through from Natsumi.
Dire's middle tower.
Movements forward, CML in trouble again as Alacrity just not stopping quite yet, but he is running a little bit low on HP. Won't matter though, he still just strikes him down, and Mizu will give the soul rip over, so Natsumi again going to be in danger, forcing more TPs down bot. Mac is going to come over, even without the Dream Coil up. He just feels like he needs to make sure this pos 1 Tiny does survive. And now the X out, Earth Spike there. They might have him. No, he'll orb away. Alacrity not quite close enough to go for the Sleight of Fist Chains combo. Polaris already, their backs against the wall. And of course, all this time being bought for In Your Dream, who is freely farming right now on this Wraith King.
He's just not being contested by Nico at all. There needs to be backup for the Darkseer. There needs to be some moving down. We'll catch Joken that though.
Yeah, Natsumi. Gonna go down. I mean, you got Jokam again here, so Max happy, but you can't really afford to keep losing your Tiny like this. Just a pretty bad start for Polaris overall, I'd say.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
I mean, maybe they plant CML here. Alacrity, he'll just keep chasing. One more slide might do it. He'll have chains in 3 anyway. There you go, he doesn't even need it. Just gets the Sleight of Fist out. Another kill for the Ember, and he's already 5-0-0. This mid-Ember Spirit. And keep in mind, John, in the meantime, while he's left this mid lane, while the mid tower has taken some damage, it's still standing, so they have not been able to really take advantage of Alacrity leaving that mid lane for so long.
Invisibility.
First on the brighter side, though, they are going to get Mizu. Surely. He'll decay, but he is eventually going to drop.
Took that shape too far.
Find that kill. They are still giving space out for In Your Dream. They might catch out Nico here.
Mortimer's Kiss is not going to help out too much with that Fate's Edict, but it is going to wear off. Nico is going to try and run, but the Scatter Blast is going to be enough. Alacrity, though, has shown up. Does cop the Avalanche toss combo out from Natsumi, but that'll be about it. Kind of goes to show exactly how this game's going right now, John. I mean, Natsumi's forced to join his team and try to fight. This is your pos 1 Tiny getting involved this early on, and it just doesn't feel very good.
It really doesn't. You just want to sit back, hit your Echo Saber timing, hit your Shadow Blade timing. That's when you can be more aggressive. But look at Alacrity just jumping forward.
Oh, he's on absolute fire, Alacrity. He might keep going. In fact, he tries, but Boomy is going to survive. 5-0-0 still on this Ember. Just no slowing this man down.
I think there's a funny interaction we don't see too often. I think the disarm actually stops damage from coming through on the Sleight of Fist.
Right.
You got disarmed there. No right-click damage coming out. That did save Boomy in the end. Would have been a nice pickup, but quick fingers coming out from CML. Still a good state of the game for NGX. 2k lead building up. In Your Dream has all the space in the world. Already has Armlet going into Desolator next. Right-click damage going to be skyrocketing soon. Whereas for Natsumi, the build-up's a lot slower. Still waiting for the Echo Saber, just trying to look for space for himself, is playing up top. He's got a lane for him to kind of work on, but the rest of NGX here, just playing aggressive, posturing his tree, looking for mid, taking over the bot jungle, and making it hellish for Polaris to play anywhere else on the map.
Well, Mac. Cam, he's looking for the Hex out, and he's got it. That's a big wall, and in fact being committed into the song now. They might try and turn this one. A lot of illusions around, but no, they can't. They can't do it. I don't think they'll have the control. Boomy still getting chased down even all throughout that. I mean, maybe they could try to turn on Alacrity, but it's not looking great for that either. He's just got no fear at the moment as the cookie is not going to land. They at least allow Boomy to get out, but in the meantime, that mid-tier 1 tower is just going to drop. An immediate smoke out. NGX, they are not done.
Dire's top
They'd love a
tower
bit more.
is under attack.
And it looks like they're going to run right into that pos one Tiny. And Natsumi showing under vision for a moment. Scans are there, but it may be too late. Natsumi has been spotted, or has he? He'll go for a TP, and no, he does not make it out. They've got plenty of damage and control here.
Flames clear.
Fortunately, Boomy showed up to try and help. Think he really can do, though. Maybe they find a trade for a support, but not even that. They don't have the coil up.
Yeah, they were just a bit too late in responding to that rotation on Natsumi and that Tiny kill. Again, slowing down the pace of Tiny, slowing down the item spikes. Echo Saber is up, but you really do need that Shadow Blade into Silver Edge to have some impact in Boomy.
Yeah, getting caught out by the chains, and well, that high base armor you've got in that Naga, it is slowly not going to matter now. GX can continue to just dominate the game. 3k net worth advantage. 6-9 is the score. Very, very nice. Again, in your dream in the meantime, he's just free farming. I believe he's working towards the Desolator now. Once you get the Deso up, we've seen what happens. You just get one hit.
Pretty much. Like the damage is going to be piling on. Especially once they're softened up by that decay. Like you take off 8 strength, literally everyone's going to get one shot, although...
No, they tried. Not really much in the way of fighting right now. But at least for the Undying, Mizu, he's still healthy. Go on to the Oracle to the backside. CML is basically guaranteed to die here on the Oracle, but I suppose everybody else is still slowly walking their way out. But even with the jump, they just can't fight. There's no real fighting for this kind of draft. Not after the laning stage they had.
No. Like, you kind of need a lot of Iron Shells up to be able to kind of posture up, but they're all sort of squishy at this point, that they can't really afford to be so far forward. Maybe once Nico has his Ags up in the Darkseer, it feels a lot better. So you'll have double Iron Shell, plus 275 HP, easier to just commit Naga Illusions up front and try to chase around to get that done. Look at In Your Dream though. He's had the double damage for a while, 891 and crit. That's without the Desolator, so it's set to get even higher. And he doesn't care. He's surrounded by heroes. He knows he can't die. And he knows he can just do what he wants. Like, he's finding all the farm. Desolator up in 200 gold. The rest of NGX taking over Triangle, taking over top lane, limiting the room for Polaris to keep farming up here.
Polaris grouping up is fine, but that's basically all they can do right now. Because if you get caught by yourself, you are probably going to get caught out and die. Izu. Nared up, Tombstone has been dropped, and they'll just song to focus down the Tombstone. Make sure there's no games, but now the Mortimer's Kisses fly in from a mile away. They at least found Jokam though, but Mizu, he might try to force the fight anyway. Cookie forward onto the Oracle. CML, big trouble, and he is gonna drop. Coil though, will at least lock down too. They're trying to vacuum out Alacrity off that Coil, but it's not gonna be enough. He's fine. And Paulison, he'll just keep fighting. They just do not respect the back wall whatsoever. As Nico is still trying to help out Natsumi, getting another kill. Mizu though, he's not dying quite yet, but eventually will go down. Do get some nice kills from the source here, Polaris. Back though, still being chased as Alacrity wants a little bit more, but now he's in trouble. The tree toss is out and they've got the ensnare, and that's a massive amount of gold now going the way of Nico, as they might even find Paulison. Well, eventually Polaris able to get aggressive, but In Your Dream's gonna show up. Just him and Jokam alone. He wants to go for a fight very confidently, and surprisingly Polaris will not try to force the fight. It was a 5v2.
Yeah, I think they understand. In Your Dream is going to take a lot of commitment to kill off twice. He's got a lot of damage, a lot of HP with the armlet up, so he can't really choose to force it out too well. I mean, Tiny has some good armor with Grow level 2 now, but you are still vulnerable to a lot of minus armor and minus strength on the so they play it safe. In Your Dream taking this as a cue to go into Roshan though with Desolator up. It's like a TA. Just hit that early spike, you've got the damage. You can get to work onto Roshan, securing the Aegis, more than likely for Alacrity. As the rest of the team streams in. Scan does spot this out. So Polaris could look to play in. They've got Dream Coil already, but Mac is still a little bit too far away. No wall, but it's going to be up as well. So there's some counterplay potential here for the Radiant side.
Roshan is eventually going to go down. They'll get it. Aegis up now, so 3 lives on In Your Dream. In the meantime, they found out Boomy. Naga Siren. You kind of require Boomy to be alive for that re-engage and disengage, but looks like he is eventually set to... Oh, never mind. In Your Dream, he can't actually close the gap. That outpost just took way too long. In the meantime, though, mid lane, Alacrity playing games with the rest of Polaris, just all by himself, still feeling it. He'll remnant forward onto the Tiny. He goes with these Spider Fists out, and now the Mortimer's Kisses will fly in from the skies, and Natsumi just cannot survive through it. It's just almost sad to see. The Alacrity's just going against 4 heroes, and they just cannot hold him down.
Yeah, they don't have the best lockdown. Like, the root from your Naga is pretty good, but the follow-up damage just isn't there. You're not big enough on the Tiny to really get control yet. It can take a lot more farm for the Tiny to hit that point. And again, Silver Edge would be the point, but it looks like Natsumi's just rushing for the Daedalus, knowing that probably Silver Edge is not going to be enough. Just go for the full big boy crit on that Daedalus and see how it goes. They've lost their top tier 1. NGX still maintaining control of the triangle, maintaining lots of lanes shoved in. There is that bot jungle, which is relatively safe for Polaris, and that's where Mac is playing. He's trying to work towards his blink for initiation, but when it comes down to the defense, it looks like they're just kind of set to surrender a lot of these outer towers now.
Bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Alacrity's just going to defend bot lane by himself. Paulison may get caught by Natsumi, but even he is not feeling confident about the Snapfire. You probably have enough damage, but the problem is he may have help around. So they understand Natsumi needs a bit more time on this Tiny to really feel comfortable. Meantime, the rest of the team will just farm other sides of the map. Paulison's still having a look around though. Scan is going to catch CML. Will they bother chasing him, however? I mean, you could just go after that mid-tier 2 instead. You know that Polaris just cannot afford to fight you. I think In Your Dream with the Aegis up, just rotates mid. They get another tier 2 tower and, you know, start setting up for high ground.
No problems here for NGX. Polaris do have all their spells up for good defense. I think they will just depend on the high ground defense now, as kind of expending those spells outside is a bit wasteful. Down bot though, Chokam.
He's going to be okay for now as he gets the finger out. Boomy's the one to drop. Natsumi, he does at least get the trade, and Alacrity will not have the chains. Way to lock down the Tiny. 1 for 1. In the meantime, NGX did secure that mid-tier 2. Looks like they're just going to go for the final tier 2 tower, perhaps. I mean, no real reason not to. Doesn't seem like they have quite enough time to go high ground yet. Mizu, always been caught out on that Undying, and now you definitely can't go high ground. I say that In Your Dream is still rushing forward as if he's going to go fight, and he will. CML going to go down, and while it was still a favorable trade for Polaris, it still gets something for NGX.
You get something that kind of makes it a bit hard for Natsumi to just toss his body forward. It's not much of a window for NGX though. Respawns are still fairly short, 21 minutes in the game, but In Your Dream is building up. Still a minute left on the Aegis. He's going to have his AC up and running really soon, so even that physical output on the Tiny is not going to feel like it's really big burst damage. When the AC just kind of counteracts a lot of that crit damage that might come through from Natsumi once the crystal is up. So I like the itemization coming out from NGX. They're shoving in the bot tier 2 next. Alacrity's just here. Still has a 9-second BKB charge. Working towards his Aghanim's next. He's going to hit his major power spike on that Ember once that item's up. And there's nothing to stop him. What happens, it happens so fast with the Mind's armor coming in from Kamisama. And map is completely naked. No outer towers left for Polaris. Jokam playing tag up top, it will eventually keep you down, and they're just going to commit now.
Now that they are, Natsumi, he's going to show up. They've got to try and defend this. That tier 3 tower is taking so much damage already, as now the cookie does land. Mortimer's Kisses, he needs help right now. Natsumi still being chased down by these kisses. The song, it's there, and Natsumi will barely survive. But Alacrity, he's going to try and chase the Slider Fist. He's not far enough to get within range, but it won't matter. They are still cleaning up. Mumi's going to drop. They're back onto the tier 3 tower. And of course, at this game, around this time of the game, you don't expect many buybacks to be available. So NGX know they can go for the full lane of barracks. There's really not much that Polaris can do to try and defend. Back is nice. They still have Reincarnate. They've still got time to go back for that final lane of barracks, and now in your dream, he's back onto CML and finishes off the job as well. Buyback will be forced out immediately, but they're onto Natsumi now. They've got the control out. The Tiny going to be searched away, but can he get away? He's been stunned up, but the false promise is going to save. I assume, as he barely gets out, my goodness. Slither away from dying there on that Tiny. They'll try to go for a bit more. That'll be enough for NGX. They got a lane of barracks at 22 minutes in. You've got to be happy with that.
Definitely are. And we talk about the timings for NGX. They have a much smoother ride early on. They're leveraging that really well in your dream. From that fight, from that entire push, he's going to have his AC up in 700 gold. So you've got to deal with even more minus armor on the raid team button. Deal with some additional armor as well. Silver Edge is up and running for Natsumi. So he's got more presence. He's got that spike on the Tiny, but I don't think it's enough. I feel like Natsumi's going to need a BKB up now. He can't keep relying on the dispels from the Oracle. He's got to be able to stand his ground, get the hits off. That means just a little bit more time farming here, but if they can ride through, hold on until the BKB is up on Natsumi, it will feel a little bit better for Polaris. But until then, they just kind of need to hold back, farm where they can, maybe get some good defensive wards out, especially in the triangle, and just try to keep building up and avoiding these fights.
Top tower is under attack. Dire are scanning. Dire's top tower is under
Be alright for now. They'll get the ensnare off onto the Snapfire. They're trying to focus down Mizu, but the Cookie gonna save his life. He'll get down to the low ground, get the tombstone out. Backwater, try and help out Natsumi, but he's still in massive danger. Trying to kill off in your dream, but he can't do it. And he has no buyback to make matters worse. They just wiped them out so quick. And NGX, I mean, obviously they're going for another high ground attempt, I think. No real reason not to. You've got Reincarnate back up in 5. Or even the salve out from Polison. And they go.
Back wall, Dream Code's still up. The last teamfight probably can use maybe a good song as well, but there's just no setup, no follow-up without the wall back, so another set of racks just being unceremoniously taken by NGX, as they will just probably be able to gut for Mega Creeps. There's just nothing to be scared of. And your Dream's just so big, he will hit level 18 soon as well if he's lucky.
Lumi got spotted. Your Dream won't be able to finish off the job. Again, though, with being Reincarnate, he might feel safe enough to keep going, but no, they're picking out the Roshan. Problem is, the Rosh is going to be a minute and a half away from respawning, but with a 12k net worth advantage and 2 racks is up, you're definitely going to have first dibs. Polaris right now, they're on their last legs in this game number 2. Still not out of it, but you lose that next Roshan, I don't see how you kill In Your Dream 3 times. He hasn't really died once this game.
He hasn't. And he's got max level Reincarnate up, so it's a 60-second cooldown. And that's probably long enough for him to get another user from Reincarnate in the middle of the fight. I just don't think they have the burst from Polaris. Maybe if Natsumi just focuses his entire effort onto the Raid King and everyone else as well just piles on, it can work, but we've seen that in the high ground fight in the triangle, and it just didn't work out for Polaris. So I think NGX, not much to be worried about.
Radiant's top tower.
They control the map basically, every lane gonna be shoving it. Still have a tier 1 mid, tier 2 top and bot, and they can just keep going.
Yep, absolutely. Still very little buybacks available right now for Polaris, so definitely a hard ask to expect them to defend, but well, they've got to try.
Radiant's top tower.
Natsumi about 250 gold off that buyback gold.
Radiant's top tower.
It probably won't be enough time to farm that up. as this Rax is going down. Meanwhile, Song was committed in the back there from Boomy. It's not really a great setup for anything. I think he's just trying to survive, but in comes the cavalry. They're on Mizu. He'll get avalanche tossed, but he's just fine. He'll tank through it. Alacrity, he's onto the back lines, and now In Your Dream comes in. Do they have detection? Apparently not. So Natsumi, he's gonna survive. And in fact, Mizu's the one to drop. And NGX, they've got to back out.
I respect the buyback. They just go for a quick reset. No Undying means no Tombstone, no Soul Rip heal, no damage happening Flesh Golem. The side of Polaris, they managed to get the scan off, but I don't think they can really play up here. Boomy will scout out though.
Back. At least gonna find the lion. However, Natsumi, who's he focusing? He's gonna try onto the Rage King, throws it back towards the wave Joe camps. There's one down. One more. They are controlling up this Wraith King quite nicely. In Your Dream, does he want to keep going? I mean, Roshan's up. They can't really afford to lose this team fight. In Your Dream, still going to move around, but they have the Silver Edge and the normal punch. And now you've got to commit to the team fight, but the Mortimer's Kisses, they'll come flying in. Found the puck already. Mac's gonna drop. They'll leave Natsumi be with that false promise. Instead, going back in after Boomy. They'll be 2 down with that buyback. So you go for the Roshan now, you wait out that reincarnate, and you just go high ground straight after.
Yep, no reason here for NGX. They know the wall's down. No puck for the Dream Coil, no Naga for the Song. And that means no contestation coming through from Polaris. Ags and Agshard as well along with the Aegis there. BKB up and running on IYD. Shard, curious to see who they pass it on to. Jokam already has his. He could give it to In Your Dream, but it doesn't feel like he's going to get value. He's not really hurting for mana anyway. He might just want to hand it perhaps to Paulson. Now that stun on Cookie's big. No, they'll pass it to Alacrity instead. So the Remnants with damage and vision is going to be good. Coming out, the damage and the Remnants flying through and kill a hero is going to be pretty good. And with the 3 lives up, they just go into high ground. Nothing to stop them from the last set of racks.
Absolutely not. The voice line's coming out now. They understand. There is really no way to not get Megas.
Radiant's top
It'll be one final team fight here for Polaris now.
Dire's bottom tower.
You love the creativity from this draft, but it definitely hasn't looked so strong this game as they'll drop the Tombstone. They're going all the way for those T4 towers. Natsumi make the jump in onto Mizu. They almost have him, but Soul Rip is going to be there in time for him to be able to survive. And now In Your Dream can get to work. Stong is out. Boomy going to hold the couple down as they get the Tombstone out. Can they keep this fight up though? They'll try. Mizu still alive throughout all of this damage. As now, In Your Dream, he's been controlled up. He'll just spin around in circles. No problem here for the Wraith King. The GG's been called. Polaris, they tried. They threw all their spells out. Unfortunately, it just amounts to nothing. That'll be a 2-0 victory here for NGX.
We talked about going into the series, Mike. NGX looked a bit shaky, and I think we saw a little bit of that in Game 1, where Polaris was getting a bit of a good start.